EDI integration, the scheduling integration, the patient portal integration, not only within the products that you decide to select within the ECO portfolio, but also the fact that it's all going to be ultimately integrated back to your practice management system. So you can do that onesie, twosie, but that's going to take a lot of time. It's likely going to cost more. But if we can promise you that ECO and everything within it is already integrated, and Justin and I can already tell you that that's true with registered patient, then obviously if we just have us, and I'm oversimplifying it, but if we have just the one pipe communicating to your PMS where it's necessary to move information back and forth, I think you would agree from an overall integration standpoint, that's easier to accomplish than doing one-offs separately. It's less time-consuming, it's less costly, it's time to market's faster. That's the overall premise of ECO. And you pick. That's the beauty of it. We're not saying if you want to buy ECO, you've got to buy everything. You've got to buy the portal, you've got to buy our scheduler, you've got to buy our PMS, you've got to buy our EMR, you have to buy our back-end billing solution. It's completely bundled. I mean, we did think about that as a strategy, but the more we thought about it, it made absolutely no sense because it kind of would defeat the purpose of why our channel partners are working with us today. They obviously, you guys as well as our other 600, 700 channel partners, obviously do things very well. We don't want to discount that. So let's enable you to see a portfolio of things that you may not have today and likely may not have for another 12, 24, 36 months. And you make the decision from a business development standpoint and a product development standpoint. Okay, if it costs us X and it's tightly integrated and we can have it in, say, 30, 60, 90 days, the whole kit and caboodle, maybe we go this way. And that's the overall premise kind of at 50,000 feet.
All right, I got it. And
does that help at all, Gary?
It did help, yeah. I was trying to tie in registered patient, and from what I see, it's online medical registration and patient check-in. You've already integrated this. ECO and this has already been integrated.
That is 100% correct.
So if we want to offer this additional feature to our clients, you've handled it already, and this is what it does. It's online registration, electronic referral, intake process, and scheduling. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. Okay.
And that's, quite frankly, if we're talking about meaningful use, I think it's important to note that, and I'm less familiar with some of the nuances, and Justin, feel free to jump in, but
okay.
Meaningful use stage 2, your providers are going to be obligated to provide some level of exposure to your patients. In other words, patients are going to need to have access to their information. So the sooner that the provider, and again, here's your sales opportunity as a company, the sooner you can provide that to your providers, and again, this will be yours, not ours, yours. You'll represent it as yours. That, again, makes it easier for Janus to be successful in selling your core solutions, because this ends up becoming an enhancement or a value add above and beyond your PMS. That's going to be huge. Providing, and the great example that Justin provided is the lab scenario, where through MDON, your provider would be able to order a lab. We already have the largest hospital and commercial laboratory network in the country. So in addition to your providers creating a lab within ECO or within the EMR, we would be doing a web service call, creating the order, or completing the order, sending it to the lab through web services, through a pre-existing network, results would come back automatically, all electronically, which meets meaningful use stage 2 criteria. So that enables the doc to continue to get their $44,000 meaningful use payout. And then more equally as importantly, as Justin described, provided that they had already been signed up, they opted for it, they could receive a message, as Jasmine demonstrated, where, lo and behold, if they've opted, say, for an email or a text message, they'll be notified. And believe me, I just went to have labs just the other day, and it's the classic, when am I going to get the results? Some of my doctors are pretty good. Some of them are horrible. I never get them. This way, it takes, and think about it, you turn that into a sales opportunity because you can tell the doctor, how much time does your staff spend notifying patients of lab results or radiology results or cardiology results?
Yeah. How many phone calls do they have to take?
Yeah, how many FTEs? Because my PCP is good, but I'm looking at it from a sales perspective and a revenue. I get a letter in the mail, and it's a template that somebody hand writes in. It's not even the actual report they get back from the lab, and they stick a stamp on it. I can only imagine the number of hours somebody's doing that and the cost that is so manual. And the way Jasmine and Justin described that one scenario through the patient portal, it is completely electronic. It's all HIPAA certified. It's seamless, and it's virtually real time. So it's all a win, and that's a huge benefit that Janus can sell to the provider. And they're going to need it eventually anyways to meet meaningful use, I think.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
And you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, Janice, I don't think you're even in that arena of having that discussion because you don't even have an EMR to sell that benefit yet.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think you can.
We don't. You're right.
So now you're opening up a whole new avenue. You're literally expanding for every single doctor that you're calling on that won't even talk to you unless you can provide that level of functionality. Now you're in the game. I think you've just expanded your potential growth significantly. And it's just, how many more customer prospects Janice and your other sales executives can call on now. That, that's a nice problem. I've been in sales for 30 years. That's a nice problem. I don't think Janice is going to complain if all of a sudden she doubles or triples the realistic opportunity of gaining new business.
I don't think any of us would complain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Justin, I was curious about the part where the referring physicians, so Dr. Smith refers a patient to Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones gets his trial version and then gets to stay on registerpatient.com with just that functionality, right? He can always use that just for referrals. So my question is, how long have y'all been around and approximately how many providers